Well, hello, I'm Adrienne Ross of the Adrienne Ross Show, and yes, I am indeed back. And I'm back, I believe, with a word from the Lord. I said a word from the Lord. And I know that there are going to be people who are going to say, why are you even saying this? Just don't respond, don't say anything. And to that, I say absolutely not. Why? Because I believe I got a word from the Lord. And so I'm just going to release that word, and I implore you to stay with me throughout this entire video. Okay, so there are people who are coming at me because I'm a Black woman who has the nerve to support someone who is white and to critique someone who is Black. That's not my place. I'm only supposed to support Black people, or I have to somehow give equal time to people because I got to focus in on the color of their skin. Some people, like I said, are coming rather hard, and I'm used to it. I've shared with you guys before. This is not my first rodeo talking about the WNBA, in which I thought I'd be talking about basketball, but there's so much more to it. And there is so much more to it. But no, this is not my first rodeo, okay? I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a former teacher, I was a columnist, okay? I am not new to how this stuff plays out when it involves race. But like I said, what God has called you to, he equips you to do. And so I'm made for this thing. It's all right. Okay. So don't worry about me. But I just had a comment a day ago in which someone attempted to check me and told me to look myself in the mirror. And I tried to get them to elaborate. I knew where they were going, but I tried to get them to elaborate, and they didn't want to elaborate. But I had to lay it out. And I was told that I had lost my soul. My soul belongs to Jesus, as I pointed out. But here's the thought that I had. And I also offered this to someone else who came at me with a comment. And I decided I'm going to make this public, and I'm going to offer this to everyone because I believe that this was led by the Lord. So I engaged the person who said I had lost my soul. And this was my offer. I said, you know what? If you truly believe that by seeing people as people and being able to cheer for someone who's white, or be able to critique someone who is not white, if I'm off base and you really believe that when I look myself in the mirror, I can say I've lost my soul, are you a person of prayer? Was my question. Are you a person of prayer? Because if you are, this is what I want from you. My email address is in the description of this channel. I want you to reach out to me by email. And I want us to be able to connect on the phone. And I want you to pray for me because you're a person of prayer. And the person did indicate she's a person of prayer. So I said, you know what? Me as a Christian, if I truly believe someone has lost their soul, you know what I want to do? I want to pray for them. I want them to be back on the right track. So I said, listen, if you really feel I've lost my soul and you're a person of faith, then let's connect. Let's get on the phone. And I want you to go to the Lord on the phone while I'm on the phone with you. I want you to pray. I want you to tell the Lord that you believe that I'm wrong, because I can absolutely appreciate the skills and the talent of someone who is not Black. I want you to tell the Lord that while I listen to you pray to the Lord, and you tell him to change my heart and save my soul, so that what matters most to me is the color of a person's skin. I want you to tell that to Jesus so that he can turn things around in my heart. And I'm absolutely serious. So I got another comment today from someone, and I asked the same question. Are you a Christian? Because I was told that I'm supposed to be old enough to understand about Black women and how our children need, Black people to do X, Y, and Z. So I asked that question. Are you a Christian? Because here's the word of the Lord. If you feel I'm off track, then I'm giving you permission. Reach out to me by email. Let's get on the phone. And I want you to pray that the blinders would be off of my eyes and that my evil heart would be turned around so that I will understand that God cares only about people who are Black, that God doesn't care about all people, that God doesn't love the people who don't look exactly like me. I want you to pray that I get the revelation of what God is really about, that I'm supposed to idolize and worship race over everything, that I can't watch a basketball game and cheer for someone who happens to be white, that's not, that I can't do that. And because I'm assuming that these people are the same people who only cheer for the Black athletes, say on the New York Yankees, who only buy their cars from Black-owned dealerships, who only drink tea from a business that was started by people who are Black, who won't go to McDonald's. I don't go to McDonald's, but for those who do, they won't go to McDonald's because McDonald's isn't run by someone who's Black, that it's all about the color of the skin. So obviously that must be these people, because I can't support someone who happens to not be Black. So if you dare to care enough about me and my soul, I'm saying to you, let's connect. I'll listen to you pray. I'll listen to you go to the Father and tell him how off I am, because I believe that all people should be loved and that all people are subject to critique. I'm willing to say, now I'm talking about Christians now, no offense to anybody else, but I'm talking about people who are Christians, who are Bible believing people, and you pray to the Lord, because that's who I pray to. And so the invitation is open to absolutely everybody right now, that if you feel this young woman, I'm calling myself young, this young woman is so off base by seeing people and valuing people and even critiquing people and speaking the truth to people based on people and not just race. If you truly believe that I'm off and you've got the kind of boldness to go before the Lord on my behalf and tell him to change my heart so that I can idolize race, then I want you to go ahead and I want you to use that email. Send me a message. You can put right there in the subject line, prayer for you, okay? Or however you want to put prayer in there so that I know exactly who it is. And let's get this thing together. Because here's the deal. I just want to be right with God. And if somehow loving people as people is wrong with God, then listen, let's get me back on the right track. So I'm open to it. I'm putting that out there. So those of you now who want to come at me about race, who want to come at me and tell me who I can cheer for, who I can't cheer for, who I can critique and who I can't critique because you only see race. Those of you who are in that category and you feel that I got some things I need to shore up and I need to just see people by the color of their skin because that's what Jesus would do. Remember that WWJD? If that's what Jesus would do, and that's what I need to be doing, and I'm so wrong, and I'm such a lost soul, and I need to look myself in the mirror, then I want to be on the right track. So the invitation is open. As they used to say back in the day, the doors of the church are open. And I'm absolutely serious. If you feel that strongly that we ought to support people based on the color of their skin, that anybody who doesn't fall into alignment with that kind of racial idolatry is off track and about to bust hell wide open, I'm not trying to bust hell wide open. So the invitation is seriously open. You can send me that email. We can connect on the phone and I'll listen while you pray to Jesus. And here's the thing. When you're done praying, when you're done talking to the Lord about me, telling me where I'm wrong because I support Caitlin Clark or because I criticize Angel Reese's game or whatever the case may be. When you're done talking to Jesus about me and asking him to change my heart and save my soul, then I get to pray for you. That's all I say. I'll let you pray. I'll listen. And then when you're done, then I get to pray for you. And I get to pray whatever the Spirit of God lays upon my heart. I mean it. Now, I've had people come at me and say, we ought to be looking out for our Black young girls and black children. And we, when you put down or you criticize Angel Reese's game, then you're somehow detrimental to all Black people and all Black girls and all that. Let me tell you something. As a people, Black people, especially those of us of faith, we got to understand that the gospel is powerful. It works for Blacks. It works for whites. It works for Chinese. It works for men. It works for women. It is the power of God. And God really doesn't need us to help him out in terms of who we can support and who we can't support. In fact, it nullifies the power of God when we reduce everything to race. Now, I am not one of those people who says, and I'm on record, you can find it out there all kinds of places, in my writing, in my podcasting, everywhere. I'm not one of those people who says I don't see race. I understand that there are unique needs in various communities, okay? I'm not one to say, I don't see race, I don't see race. No, you're not complimenting me by saying I don't see your race. God made us so unique. It's okay to see that I'm Black. The problem is if that's all you see. If you can see that and appreciate that while seeing other things about me, the totality of who we are, that's a wonderful thing. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm not Black. God made us that way. But for us to just zone in on that and to elevate that and to worship that is a problem. And those of you, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When it comes to basketball, remember, that's what we're talking about here, right? I talk about a lot of things here, but I mean, in this conversation where a lot of these things are coming at me, those of you who supposedly care about Angel Reese, you do her no favors because you want her to carry the weight of your racial issues. Angel Reese is simply not Caitlin Clark. It has nothing to do with her color. It's just that she's not there. And there's no shame in that. None at all. Most people don't have the full skill set that Caitlin Clark has. It's okay. But for you to put that on her shoulders and say you got to ball out for your people is unfair and it's wrong. And you know what? It's a weight she just cannot handle. You have racial issues. You need to come to grips with them. But for other people, and apparently the Black men are really getting it. There's stuff out there for the Black men. How dare you support Caitlin Clark and not Angel Reese? And these men are like, we kind of like basketball. We can't, like, that's where we've come. That's where we are. That to accept, back in the day, we were like, we just want to be accepted as human beings. So to accept us as human beings means that you can't call us higher. You can't critique us. You have to tippy-toe around us. In the Bible, Jesus, the word of God says, whom the Lord loves, he chastens, he corrects. I want him to correct me because I want to be what he called me to be. I want to be better. I don't want him to say, well, I can't say anything to Adrienne because she's a part of Black people and Black people have been through so much. So I'm just going to let her bust hell wide open. No. Whom the Lord loves, he chastens, he corrects. So for me to look at Angel Reese and say, I can't say anything about Angel Reese because there's a little girl who's watching. No, let the little girl watch and let her learn as a person. How do we get better? How do we improve? Black, white, Chinese, Asian, Jewish? How do we get better? The whole thing about race is sick, really. But I say, if you feel I'm wrong in that, I'll let you pray for me. And when we're done, I'll pray for you. Because here's what I believe. I believe that some of the things that we want to see in the Black community, we want God to move on our behalf. But our hearts are not right. We need healing of our hearts. And until our hearts are healed, we're going to continue to respond in that way where it's all about color. Oh, you made a joke about Cheryl Swoops. she's black. What's wrong with you? You can't do that. She's black. Oh, Angel Reese is missing layups. You can't say that. She's black. You can't do that. Oh, Nalissa Smith on the Fever, and you love the Fever, but man, she missing a whole lot of shots. Aaliyah Boston, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. You only can talk about how Lexi Hall misses shots sometimes, which I do. How Katie Lou Samuelson has not been playing well lately, which I do. But that's okay. You can criticize Christy Sides and her coaching because they're white, but no, you can't do it to black people because we can't handle it. We're not good enough. This is what you call the bigotry of low expectations. We need to raise our expectations. We need our hearts healed, and the only one who's going to do it is God. This is a spiritual issue. Me starting to report on Caitlin Clark, some people out there say this is all about money. I've never sold my soul for money. At the same time, I have no problem as a businesswoman of, I have no problem making money. That's another thing we as Black people need to get together, because we demonize anything where someone, oh, you're just trying to make money. Okay, yeah, I want a good foundation for myself and for my family. For a black person to say, no, you can't do that because you're only after clicks, you're only after business. Well, yeah, if I'm working hard and I'm putting my time, my energy, and my strength and my talents into something, should I not be compensated? Even the word of God says a man is worthy of his hire, and that means women as well. So there's no shame in that. There's no shame in saying, I provide a product that people want. I should be paid for it. But I never do it at the expense of my integrity. You can keep your clicks, you can keep your likes, you can keep all of it, because Jesus is my source. So while I don't mind making $1 or $1 million or $1 billion, come on, somebody. While I don't mind, I ain't selling out for that. You hear me? I'm going to do what I believe God has called me to do. If you're with me, fine. If you're not, you're not. But to those who said to say to me, you should be uplifting people, you should be doing better by people. I've spent my life serving people. I was a teacher for nearly 20 years of Black and white students. Should I have only cared about the Black students and let the white students just whatever? Should I not have said to the Black students, this is a run-on sentence because they're too delicate? Or should I call them higher? Should I treat them like I treat the white student? So yeah, for those who say, oh, you're not doing anything listen, like I said, I know that there are communities that have unique needs. I've been talking about that for a very long time. So yeah, I taught for nearly 20 years. 6 of those years, I coached girls varsity basketball, Black and white. I wanted the best for all of them. I praised them when they needed to be praised. I critiqued them when they needed to be critiqued. And I've shared the gospel. It's what I do. I've been to Zambia. I've been to Guatemala. In Guatemala, building a medical clinic. In Africa, in Zambia, going to orphanages to play with children and bless children and give out things to children. And I've been in the hospitals where people were there dying of AIDS, dying of malaria. But we came in with the word of the Lord, laid our hands on those people and prayed for them. Don't lecture me about what it is to serve people and to care and to love people. While some of you have been comfortable in your homes, critiquing people online about who they cheer for on the basketball court, some of us have been building medical clinics, laying our hands on the sick, doing street ministry, building churches, putting our hands out there. So again, the offer is there. I'm not saying any of that to pat myself on the back. I'm saying that you need to take inventory of yourself and what your priorities are. And if your heart's not right, people of faith in particular, because I have no doubt that there are people who come at other people with that racial idolatry, that are singing in choirs in churches, that are teaching Sunday school, that are shouting in the aisles and falling and rolling all over the floor. And they get online and spew racial idolatry and want you to only love certain people. And they only see people by the color of their skin. All up in the church, some of you. And you need deliverance. But if you say, I'm the one who needs deliverance, then I say the email is right there in the description of this channel. Use it. Let's connect. I'll listen while you pray that God makes me a racial idolater. And then when you're done, I get to pray for you. Deal? Now, again, there are some of you who are going to say, why did you go there? Yeah, I went there. I feel like I was led to go there, and I'm okay with it. What I ask of you, make this go viral. The offer is out there. We need to deal with this. This Caitlin Clark being on the scene, some of you think it's just coincidence. There is so much more here. I'm going to be writing about it because we need to hear it. So I delivered what I felt I should deliver. Now you do with it what you will. Everybody needs to hear this message. So I encourage you, make sure you share it. Make it go viral. But before you head on off somewhere else, hit the subscribe button because we got a message to share and we got fun to have and all the good stuff that we do on the Adrienne Ross Show. And I want as many people as possible to be in on it. So like, share, comment. God bless you abundantly. And I'll catch you next time. God bless.